All right, so let's look at now what happens as a result of this porosity if it can not be eliminated from a ceramic. So in particular, we're going to focus on the optical properties. All right, so this is an example showing three different ceramics. They're the same material. They've just been processed or sintered in different ways. So this is alumina or Al₂O3. So what we see is that the translucency increases as we decrease porosity. So this example here on the right, this is our example we showed in the previous slide where those pores, where we still have a high degree of porosity. So that could be if the pores are stuck in the middle of a grain. And then in the middle here, you can start to see through the pellet and read the print below, meaning we have some translucency. And so this could be where we have a much smaller degree of porosity. I will say though that it doesn't require a huge amount of porosity to cause us to go from this clear example to something that's less translucent and more opaque. So a small amount can result in this translucency. So a little bit here, and then this basically perfect looking clear pellet over here of alumina is when we've basically eliminated or nearly eliminated all of the porosity. And so that's what we can do. That's the optical effects that we can have. So porosity can give us this effect as well. Other things, other defects can result in translucency. So, because think about a gemstone, right? A gemstone is a single crystal of a material, and that's why we have that, transparency with those crystals. But beyond that, grain boundaries. If we think about the way that light interacts with this crystal, if we now have a polycrystalline material, grain boundaries can cause scattering of the light, therefore not transmitting the light. And so that can result in translucency or opaqueness. Anytime we have a grain boundary, that's going to affect that. If there's some type of phase, intergranular phase that happens here, so this could be a glassy material or a precipitate, whatever it is, but some type of phase that can cause scattering of light and therefore cause it to not be transmitted. So any type of phase along the grain boundaries, precipitates, so particles inside of that can cause it, as well as pores. All of these things, basically defects, can cause scattering. And so the goal then, if we want to get transparent materials, is to eliminate defects. And if we have them in certain size ranges. And we'll see that in the next slide. Okay, so this basically shows us the transmission. So basically 100% means that it's completely transparent, and then 0, the opposite, as a function of pores. And so that we see that, again, this is 3% by volume of pores, and we basically have no transmission. And so very small amounts, right? We're talking less than 1% can cause these variations. I forget what specific material this is, but again, it's a general principle that very small amounts can cause that. The other thing that comes in here is that not only does the amount, but also the size of these particles. So transmission in this case is increased if we have larger particles in this case, and so another way of kind of looking at that is if you think about the what we're trying to transmit through the material. So we're typically talking about visible light. So visible light is going to have a specific wavelength. And so if we look at wavelength of 589, for that material, and we look at how much is scattered as a function of the particle size. So more is going to be scattered at a particular wavelength, or if we have a specific wavelength, a particular particle size is going to scatter more than others. And so basically that principle is what gave us the dynamic light scattering for powder characterization. And so if our particles are on the similar wavelength of the scattering light, or of the light wavelength, then we are going to have more scattering. So basically we want our particles to be smaller than the wavelength, much smaller or much greater, to avoid those issues. And so we don't want particles or grains at roughly the same size as the wavelength of the light. That's where we get more and more scattering. So we want to avoid that phenomenon. Okay, so this is again a table kind of showing you how to get this transmission that we see in these particular materials. So we already talked about alumina last time, and adding MgO. That can increase the transmission, so we can get 40 to 60%, which is a pretty good amount. In this case, this is with a specific wavelength and sample thickness, and they're giving you the sintering conditions as well. So, fairly high temperature, long times, and then actually a hydrogen environment. So this isn't super common. If we add in yttria, Y2O3, we can get even higher transmission, and again, similar environments there, and then giving us some different properties here. And so basically this is just giving us different additives that we could add, what the transmission is. So you can see that down here, this is the highest possible with visible light, and then kind of showing you the conditions under which we're doing that. So much longer times here than in those cases. So similar ways for other materials as well. If we have calcium oxide or lime or magnesium oxide, you can add different things. And again, for the most part, these additives are suppressing grain growth, therefore allowing porosity to be reduced before the grains start to grow. And so along those lines, I'll just mention that when we talk about grain growth, we often think about an endpoint. But as we know, grain growth really doesn't ever complete. It just becomes slower and slower, because essentially the particles become larger and larger. And so it basically appears to slow down, but really it just asymptotically decreasing in speed. So essentially there appears to be an endpoint, although the grains can continue to grow. That's just a function of grain growth, and the fact that as they get larger, because of how we're looking at it in terms of volume, that will appear to decrease.